the responsibility of ensuring peace and stability in the region. Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, emphasized this during his working visit to Delta State to bring lasting solution to the Niger Delta crisis. Ifeoma Akwa has details.
In recent times, the nation has been confronted with incidents of militancy and oil pipeline vandalism, especially in the Niger Delta. This has brought economic, environment, and humanitarian losses to the national economy and security. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, accompanied by the Delta State Governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, and Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta, Brigadier General Paul Boro, have brought to the region the goodwill message of President Muhammadu Buhari, which is to maintain peace that will engender development. For him, the time of negotiation is over, and it is time to act.
We must prepare for the future. Our future is not a future of environmental degradation. It's not a future of poor infrastructure. It's not a future of no roads. It's not a future of harassment and locking up. Our future is a future of progress. It's a future of development.
It is obvious that the visit is a visit of partnership. He has come to think along with us, and together, by the special grace of God, we will get out of the challenges that we have at the moment.
The Vice President inspected the site of the Nigerian Maritime University at Okerenkoko and promised to establish the institution. He later paid homage to His Majesty Ogiame Ikenwoli, the Olu of Warri. The Olu wants the federal government to, among other things, dredge the Escravos Bar, curb environmental pollution, and address infrastructure deficits in the area to rejuvenate investors' confidence. He rounded off his visit with an interactive session with the youth leaders in Ifuru. In Warri, Ifeoma Akwa, NTA News.
The establishment of a naval base in Akwa Ibom State has been described as a major step to boosting the security of the nation's oil-rich region, which in recent time has been under threat of vandals. Governor Udom Emmanuel made this known while receiving the flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command in Government House. The report.
Governor Udom Emmanuel said the strategic position of Akwa Ibom State and its contributions to the economic well-being of the nation deserves special attention both in security and infrastructural development. The governor commended the Nigerian Navy in its gallant performances to protect the international waters of Nigeria. He therefore suggested the establishment of a Naval War College in Akwa Ibom State as an insurance to national asset within the region.
We can't have this kind of water and then no Naval War College. I'm sure our facilities should be able to cater for this seriously, and we'll do our best.
The flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral James Oluwale, commended the effort and collaboration of Akwa Ibom State government towards the protection of national assets and pledged the Navy's continued cooperation.
Actually, we went to some states, and we found the Akwa Ibom State and Lagos State most suitable for this.
The Nigerian Navy, as part of its effort to encourage its officers and men, established an annual sporting event. The Nigerian Navy says it will begin on 20th February 2017. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Moving on now to the legislature, Kebbi State House of Assembly has been challenged to enact stifle legislation against cattle rustling and kidnapping. The submission coming from the Deputy Senate Leader Ibn Allah and Governor of Kebbi State, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, during a capacity development training program organized by the National Institute for Legislative Studies. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
You can legislate on them. One of those is cattle rustling.
The Deputy Senate Leader also emphasizes on facilitating federal government's drive to maximize all opportunities in the agriculture sector.
Those wishing to invest in agriculture must have some level of comfort by way of legislation, legislative protection so that when they look at the law, they can predict with some certainty of what is going to happen to their investment.
The Lake Rise, which is a product of a joint venture between Lagos State and Kebbi State, is a program that is designed to support the realization of the food sufficiency initiative that has been articulated by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The governor adds that the potential for farmers, producers and processors in Kebbi is enormous, and that ultimately rice will be exported from Nigeria rather than imported. Speaker of the Kebbi State House of Assembly, Ismaila Abdulmumin Kamba, with the governor commend NILS as a leading legislative resource center in Africa and comments on executive-legislature relations in the state.
So ordinarily, you cannot see a governor coming to such occasions. So that goes a long way to tell you how good the relationship is between the Kebbi State House of Assembly and the executive of Kebbi State.
The interactive workshop had resource persons delivering papers on principles and analysis of sponsoring bills and standing orders. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Chairman, Senate Joint Committee on FCT Public Procurement Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Dino Melai, has emphasized Nigeria ensures sustainability of government programs, projects and policies. It was during an investigation hearing on what is regarded as the abandoning of 8 billion naira Code of Conduct Bureau headquarters project in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Due to the alarming increase in the number of abandoned projects in Nigeria, Senator Melaye stated emphatically the resolution of the National Assembly as advocate of change to right all wrongs, adding that the Senate was utterly dismayed on receiving a motion in respect of the abandoned projects.
Specifically, the 8th Senate are mindful of this fact. In no distant time, we'll come up with legislation to compel successive governments to continue programs and projects initiated by their predecessors. This will not only save our resources, but will also enable government to ensure optimum use of scarce resources for new projects.
Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, Sam Saba, said the organization did not abandon the project, but considered the option of outright purchase of office block out of frustration caused by non-diligent execution of projects by contractors.
In spite of 3 warning letters issued by the FCDA, the project supervisor, and notice of intention to terminate the contract issued by the CCB, poor budgetary releases for the project. In fact, it took the CCB more than 3.5 years to complete payment of 15% of mobilization fees to the contractor.
Chairman of the committee mandated the Bureau to furnish the committee with memorandum of understanding on the said project within 48 hours. And from the representative of the contractor,
we didn't envisage we were going to hit an aquifer that had water. The shop drawings, we didn't get them on time, and then when we got them, we were doing progressive redesigns because of the challenges we had met on the site.
The committee will continue with the matter. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
Following complaints of neglect by borderline communities and to ensure prudent management of funds appropriated, the Senate Committee on State and Local Government Affairs is embarking on a nationwide inspection of projects executed by Border Communities Development Agency. Bakassi local government and other areas in Cross River State caught the attention of the team in their maiden visit.
In November last year, the Senate Committee on States and Local Government visited the Border Communities Development Agency to assess the level of implementation of the 2016 budget. Quite a number of projects were highlighted by the Executive Secretary of the agency, Mr. Numipre Wells, during the visit. 2 months later, the Senate Committee on States and Local Government and the House of Representatives Committee on Special Duties are on the spot assessment of some of the projects cited in border communities in Cross River State. The projects inspected include market stalls, security posts, health centers, solar-powered boreholes, and primary schools.
The access is good, schools are being built, So if you're going to take it in a holistic manner, this is impressive.
Displays from Bakassi are abandoned. It's not true. You have seen it with your eyes. So the government is working, and in the change matter, we are going to do more.
Completed. They are old projects. The ones you are seeing, these are the current budget, the current 2016 budget that is running, and so far, I think it's not, some of the contractors are not doing well, but some have performed considerably well.
Done with the inspection, the team paid a visit to the Cross River State Deputy Governor, Professor Evara Issa, with the message of collaboration with the federal government in improving the lives of residents in border areas who are quite distant from the cities. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Away from legislative activities now, the federal government has been given a pat on the back for efforts it has put in so far in the fight against insurgency and research to rescue the Chibok schoolgirls and other Nigerians in Boko Haram terrorist captivity. This was the submission of the convener of the Bring Back Our Girls group, Obi Ezekwesili, who led the group's delegation to be part of the tour of the Northeast to assess the ongoing military operation in the area. Anthony Forson reports.
The tour of the area came to a close with this last midnight aerial surveillance by the federal government team led by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, accompanied by the Bring Back Our Girls delegation, also led by its convener, Obi Ezekwesili. They went on aerial survey of Sambisa, embedded in Air Force Intelligence Surveillance Renaissance flight. The 3-hour flight took them across the vast Sambisa forest, where insurgents have been spotted to be fleeing their camps. The operation has also helped in no small way in hitting at the insurgents with precision. Upon arrival, a news conference was held where both local and foreign journalists who were invited took on the Bring Back Our Girls group on their impression so far with regards to the search for the Chibok girls.
The information we have has empowered and enriched our question, our demand for our government to be able to make a decision.
On the fight against corruption, the Bring Back Our Girls convener did not mince words in throwing her weight behind the federal government's anti-corruption campaign.
There needs to be a sense that the judiciary of this country understands that citizens would like to see effective and conclusive prosecution, because that's the only way you establish systems of deterrent in the country.
For the Information and Culture Minister and the Chief of Air Staff, they simply called on Nigerians to remain steadfast, believing that government is doing everything possible to end the insurgency.
I must thank the BBOG girls on the issue of transparency. Yes, we agree absolutely with you that if you are conducting this kind of operation, if you do it in a transparent manner, you're able to carry along the citizens. And that's one of the reasons why we believe, why we decide to invite you to see that we have nothing to hide in the conduct of this war.
All of us to realize that we have a stake in security, and every Nigerian has a role to play, and that is why I think the communities, people need to be vigilant, people need to share information with security agencies.
The delegation has since left Tactical Air Command Center, base of the air component of Operation Lafia Doli. From Yola, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Moving on now, some succor came the way of displaced victims of southern Kaduna crisis with the visit of subsidiaries of the Big Church Group of Kagoro Hills and Kafanchan to identify with their plight. Chairman, Big Church Group, Dr. Olakunle Churchill, football legend John Fashanu, and tourism ambassador Rachel Backham, who are at the center of the charity initiative, said the NGO is not a church, but an independent organization focused on alleviating poverty and lending assistance to the needy. The philanthropic mission delivered cooked food meals, foodstuff, medical aid and blankets to the people. The team also paid courtesy visit to the King of Kagoro, who expressed appreciation over their act of of kindness and called on other organizations to emulate the gesture. And for any nation to attain the desired peace, there must be cooperation between the government and the governed, while the people must be informed to embrace peaceful coexistence. This was a submission at a meeting between the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu, and the Commandant General of the National Unity and Peace Corps, Chinedu Nneji. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
The issue of insecurity has been a major challenge the world over, and Nigeria also has its own share, thanks to President Buhari-led administration, which has demonstrated the political will to tackle insecurity in the country head-on. Osita Okechukwu assured the leadership of the Peace Corps of information dissemination to every nook and cranny of the nation.
Having contained Boko Haram, we still need to look for somewhere else to look for peace. That's why you could hear Mr. President telling the Niger Delta militants that let's come to a win-win situation. We're pleading with them that with peace everybody will have his own infinite desires and aspirations for a modern Nigeria.
The issue of Boko Haram, the issue of Niger Delta militants, the issue of agitation for secession by MASOB and IPOB, and then the herdsmen farmers crisis. We started the process, and all we are waiting for is Mr. President to give assent to that bill to enable us to move into the field.
The group urged Nigerians to give their support towards the actualization of total peace in the nation, especially through intelligence gathering and security alert. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Let's now join our Lagos Network Center for stories making the rounds from that zone, and Ademola is our guide. Ademola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Babajide. Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. The Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakub, says the commission will not spare any of its staff indicted for receiving bribes from politicians. The commission, he says, will also continue prosecution of its electoral and constitutional mandate. Professor Yakub disclosed this at the opening of INEC's strategic retreat for national and state electoral commissioners in Lagos. Deji Dowu reports.
The strategic retreat is to re-examine INEC's processes and procedures with an intent to develop a new strategic plan for 2019 and beyond. Professor Mahmood Yakubu told INEC's top managers that the integrity of the commission and its staff must never be in doubt, promising a fair hearing for those indicted by the EFCC report.
We have issued over 200 queries to staff mentioned in the EFCC report, and we have invited them to the commission for one-on-one discussion based on the principle of fair hearing. Whatever the outcome is, we'll share this with Nigerians.
Ceremony is over. The retreat went into technical session. Professor Muhammad Kuna, in his presentation, highlighted 19 innovations introduced by INEC in the past 10 years to streamline its operations, improve processes and credibility in voter registration, accreditation, and voting. This, it says, have enhanced credibility of elections, but concluded that the appropriate legal system is needed to strengthen the impact of these innovations.
All the consultations have been done. What remains now is the work, the internal workings of the National Assembly in order for the amendments to be addressed.
In the Senate, they have already started close-by-close consideration of the amendments that will remove all impediments to electronic processes.
Professor Bolaji Onwansoye submitted that INEC's credibility will be better enhanced if the Commission starts planning early, continuously engage critical stakeholders, and sustain voters' education.
Starting elections on time, finishing on time, and having a collation system that is credible and builds confidence.
The retreat will last for 3 days. In Lagos, Dichido, NTA News.
The Peace Corps of Nigeria has concluded plans to recruit 2,000 youths from Lagos State this year. The Southwest Zonal Commandant of the Corps, Mutairu Habib, made this disclosure at the Bagauta Kalto Press Center in Alausa, Ikeja. Nosa Osula reports.
The National Assembly had in November 2016 passed the bill establishing the Peace Corps of Nigeria, and it is currently awaiting presidential assent. Also, Senate President Bukola Saraki had said the passage of the bill would institutionalize the Corps that had been in existence for several years as a voluntary organization in the country. The zonal commander of the Corps, Mutaru Habib, said the recruitment was aimed at complementing efforts of the federal and state government in tackling youth unemployment.
The organization has embarked on massive recruitment exercise to absorb the youth into the Corps so as to bring the issue of unemployment, which has continued to plague the country, to an end.
The commandant, who was also optimistic that the bill would soon be signed into law, said the Corps would help to facilitate peace, community services, nation building, among others.
In our commitment to national creativity, peace and youth development, we are out with a vision and a mission to train, educate, orientate the youth of the state on their future leadership roles in the society.
Habib added that employed professionals in the various fields who are willing to serve as Peace Corps volunteers would be recruited. In Lagos, Musa Usula, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. Is back to you, Babajide, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Moving on now, Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonaya Onu, has encouraged young Nigerians to embrace science and engineering to enhance research and innovation aimed at fast-tracking development of the country. The minister gave the task when he led the staff of the ministry to Government College Kebbi to donate science and technology learning equipment. Justin Bemoyi was there.
The visit of the minister, who was accompanied by the Minister of State for Environment, underscores the importance of identifying and encouraging the younger generation to shape the future for a better Nigeria. Donating science kits as well as computer and mathematical sets for improved teaching, Dr. Ogbonaya Onu emphasized the need for Nigeria to move away from resource-based to build a knowledge-based economy to add value to the abundant natural resources in the country for job and wealth creation.
For a nation to be truly great, that nation must embrace science and technology. Our hope is in you. How will you do this? You develop careers in science and engineering.
So we urge our young students to keep the flag flying.
Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura of Nasarawa State was represented by his Commissioner for Special Education, Science and Technology.
This is more than a stepping stone because, one, there must be a good learning environment. That is what the state government have been doing. They have renovated all the schools in the state. They have been able to encourage science and technology. That is why whatever comes our way as far as science and technology is concerned, the government have been updoing.
The college, which was established in 1949, is said to be the oldest school in Kefi. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Away from science and technology, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Solomon Dalun, has challenged youth in Imo State to take custody of their destiny by looking inward to achieve a better Nigeria they desire. It was in an interactive session with youth at the Government House. Leo Sayode reports.
The minister told the youths of plans by his ministry to empower them as responsible leaders to take over the reins of affairs in the country. The plans, he said, is a deviation from what has been obtainable in the past. Mr. Dalong told the youths to take a cue from the founding leaders of the past who fought and ensured the country was liberated from colonialism. He puts the visit in perspective.
In owning the future, we are also going to empower the youth mentally, because the worst poverty is not the poverty of materialism, but the poverty of mind. We are also going to come up with a leadership mentoring program of engagement where young people will be selected to meet with the president on one-on-one basis to discuss and interact.
Earlier, the state governor, Owele Rochas Okorocha, while welcoming the minister, said Imo youth has what it takes to be leaders of tomorrow.
The youth center is Imo Youth Center prepare us now to take over. Because there's no more old song of saying youth every day, youth are the futures of tomorrow, leaders of tomorrow, and the tomorrow never comes.
Imo State is the first state to be visited by the minister in Owerri. Selo Sande, NTA News.
Area will remain a fertile ground where people will be exposed to all forms of financial irregularities unless government regulates and boosts security in the financial sector. These were the views of guests on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria in their contribution on efforts towards addressing the proliferation of what is generally called wonder financial organizations in Nigeria. Saliu Abdullahi has the report.
This is the second time that the issue of Ponzi schemes is discussed on the program, highlighting the inherent dangers that are associated with participating in them. Like a prophet whose prophecy came to pass, the short break declared by the operators of MMM and of the Ponzi schemes in December last year shocked its participants, whose hope was however rekindled upon the resumption of the scheme recently. This, the guest on the program say, should be a warning for Nigerians in the scheme to think twice and look for other viable means of doing business.
Everybody needs to be involved, even from the lawmakers, the people that implement the law, and the Ministry of Information, NOA, even the gentlemen of the press, that this thing definitely go, but the time, nobody can say it. Most people will be caught in it.
Critical institutions of society, school system, the churches, if they can go back to that primary role that they have in society, I'm sure they'll be able to convince people to have a better attitude about materialism, and that will now help to control their greed.
It was emphasized that government, through its regulatory institutions, has a role to play.
Some people have killed themselves. Yeah. Some people were hospitalized when it closed. Some people can still not pay their rent or house or school fees. I heard of a guy, a lawyer even, who sold his car, that he was going to invest in MMA and then buy a bigger car.
The question is, which is better, that you invest in something that is approved and you get little returns, which is certain, or that you invest in a scam and you lose all your money. So that's the call which investors have to make.
Although MMM participants invited on the program did not show up, there were mixed reactions via the Twitter handle of the program that economic emancipation, such as the government social security scheme, should be encouraged to tackle poverty in the country. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has signed into law the 2017 State Appropriation Bill of 707 billion naira. Udraketin completes the story.
Budget of infinite transposition for medium-term expenditure framework for capital projects is to cover 2017, 2018 and 2019 fiscal years. Signing the budget into law, which was earlier presented by the Speaker State House of Assembly, John Lebo, Governor Ayade said the budget is a new budgeting concept where all capital heads are captured. The governor believed that the budget will fast-track the execution of various projects of his administration to include the superhighway project, deep seaport project, Rice City, as well as other projects, with a view to creating jobs opportunity in each of the senatorial districts of the state for sustainable development.
Sorry for the poor audio in some portions of that story. Moving on now, you can watch these news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. This is Nationwide on the network service on the NTA. Let's pause now for some messages. Don't go away.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok schoolgirl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
Pension matters, and in specific terms, the plight of pensioners is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live, with those who matter. It promises to be revealing and informative. Don't be told. Join us.
The chairman, members of committee, and Muslim Ummah of Abubakar Sadiq Mosque invites you to the opening of an ultra-modern Jumat mosque situated at the South Street, Owuse, Zone 6, Abuja. The Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, will lead the Jumat prayer. Senator Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki of Ilorin, and the Senate President will be the special guest of honor to be assisted by Aminu Tambol Matawallan Sokoto, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, and Alhaji Aminu Masari, the Executive Governor of Katsina State. Chief host will be the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Muhammad Musa Bello. Renowned Islamic scholar, Al-Rama Ahmad Ibrahim Suleiman, will commence the program with recitation of the Holy Quran from 9 a.m. in the morning. Other Islamic ulama will deliver special lecture and goodwill messages. Jumat prayer starts at 1 p.m. prompt. Date will be Friday, the 20th of January, 2017.
Okay, sir. You may now go in for your interview.
Thank you. Ah, my shoe. And to think I just bought this very expensive foreign shoe 2 months ago.
So sorry about your shoes. This is why I advise my friends to always patronize made in Nigeria products. See this shoe. It's made in Nigeria, and I've had it for 2 years, and it's still as good as the day I bought it.
Made in Nigeria products are good quality, and stringent government regulations and certification now mean the goods made in Nigeria meet international standards. Make the patriotic choice today. Buy right. Buy Made in Nigeria.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Only you blind, you deaf, dumb, you even mental.
Brother mi, ẹ dá lóhùn. Olórí burúkú ló pọ̀jù nínú wọn.
Brother, you go slap me now.
Expect the cops though. Now
see fine girl.
Brother, me.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Yomi Fash Lanso, Stephen Odingbe.
I just realized I ran out of fuel and I forgot my ATM and wallet at home. Sir, please, could you help me with anything?
Ego transporter and others. Are you going to Igwenga?
Sir.
Mon Dieu.
Hey,
you have eyes to look at Kebbi, Abi. So shall it be permanent in your life.
Professor John Bull, this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network International and Star Times.
I have catch a big liar in our family.
And who could that be?
Is she a berry papa? Abi is he a berry mama? Abi a berry what?
Over and out.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mass leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more.
Other information and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on ntappeak2000@yahoo.com. Call us on 080-2316-3474 or 080-6939-5185 or 070-3189-0555. NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, the much needed help at your doorstep.
Many thanks for being there, and if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Kebbi State Command, says it handled a total of 254 cases ranging from pipeline vandalism to civil matters from January to December last year. The State Commandant of the Corps disclosed in Lokoja activities for the year ended. Onotu Yakub reports.
The cases range from pipeline and electrical installation vandalism, mischief, illegal possession of firearms, illegal operation of refineries, criminal breach of trust, threat to lives and property, housebreaking, and some civil-related matters. 40 of the cases are being prosecuted in courts, 48 still under investigation. 49 cases have been treated with dispatch, while 102 communal disputes and marital-related matters were successfully mediated and resolved by the Peace and Conflict Resolution Unit of the Command. The State Commandant of the Corps, Evarestus Obio, disclosed that in tackling the herdsmen farmers clashes in the state, the command met with relevant stakeholders where resolutions were reached with assurance by parties involved to implement the peace accords.
Our present and major flashpoints, as well as our prominent participations in the joint task forces, including the woods and other areas, have drastically reduced kidnapping and other crimes in the state.
Command has also provided security coverage for solid mineral sites in addition to surveillance on movement of products to ensure conformity with laid-down rules and regulations. Mr. Obio restated the command's resolve for zero tolerance for crime. In Lokoja, Onotu Yakub, NTA News.
A major breakthrough has been recorded by the Committee on Amnesty initiated by Katsina State Government to pardon any suspected armed bandit wishing to renounce terrorism, as 360 weapons were recovered from repentant cattle rustlers at a ceremony attended by Governor Aminu Bello Masari at Kankara local government area. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports that 104 of the ammunition recovered are AK-47 rifles.
Southern Katsina Senatorial District has been ravaged by the activities of rustlers, creating insecurity among the people of the area, which prompted Governor Aminu Bello Masari to initiate the amnesty program through the establishment of a committee under the leadership of the Secretary to the Government of the State, Dr. Mustapha Muhammad Inwa. The climax of these efforts was the handing over of the weapons and renouncing terrorism by the suspects who were alleged to be behind killings and loss of property worth millions of naira. Governor Aminu Bello Masari said the handing over of the dangerous weapons to security personnel reiterated his administration resolve to pursue peace building in the state.
Well, what we have done is the process of bringing about peace, not only in Kaduna, but in the whole of northwestern state.
The chairman of the committee, Dr. Mustapha Muhammad Inwa, said the committee was able to break barriers by bringing all parties involved to the negotiating table. He noted that the committee has recovered about 28,000 livestock, out of which only 90 were unclaimed.
We are trying to look at giving amnesty to those who have court cases, who are in detention, who probably might have even been convicted.
Emir of Katsina, Dr. Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, assured the support of Katsina and Dora Emirate councils to the Amnesty Committee and urged the state government to make it a permanent body. In Katsina, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa.
In response to President Muhammadu Buhari's call to partner on Change Begins With Me initiative, Director General of National Orientation Agency, Dr. Garba Abari, has launched the program in Maiduguri. Yagumsu Bukar has details.
From analog to digital broadcasting, Governor Kashin Shetima, represented by the Commissioner for Information and Culture, Muhammad Bulama, said the idea to shift from analog to digital is timely, urging participants to use the knowledge gained from the workshop at their various organizations. Director General NBC, Ishaq Modibo Kawu, informed that the activities of the insurgents in the state necessitated the relocation of its zonal office to Gombe. But with the return of peace now, the Commission has relocated back to Borno, stressing that all staff will be trained on what digitization entails. 4 papers were presented during the workshop to include Transition from Analog to Digital Broadcasting, Where Are We Now? By Engineer Edward Amana, where he explains that after the transition, one will be able to receive clearer pictures and more efficient use of available spectrum, among others. Mark Ojia, a broadcasting consultant, presented a paper titled Content of Production in Digital Era, while broadcast equipment and operation under digital platform was presented by Engineer Victoria Eki. Dr. Armstrong Idachaba spoke on the economic benefits derivable from digitization for the Northeast. The Zonal Director, NBC, Ahmad Abdul Qadir, said he hoped the knowledge gained by all participants will be put into practice. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
And for more reports on Nationwide, let's join Asmao in our Sokoto Network Center. Asmao, it's over to you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Police Command has confirmed the kidnap of Director of Finance Isa local government area of Sokoto State, along with 3 others by unknown gunmen. The incident happened along the Sokoto Isa Road. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the story.
Confirming the incident, Police Commissioner Muhammad Abdul Qadir said the victims were kidnapped on their way to Isa, where they work. The unknown gunmen disguised themselves in army uniform, which made the victims to stop where they were stopped by the gunmen. According to the commissioner, the kidnappers demanded for money but could not get the money, which made them to take the victims on motorcycles to an unknown destination. It is disclosed that since the incident happened, men of the armed robbery squad and army personnel were deployed along the area to trail the kidnappers.
I'm beefing up the common exercise in that area. I'm going to the place now, and with some additional manpower from anti-kidnapping unit and from Special Anti-Robbery Squad. We have been able to identify a few locations, so that's why we are going to search and rescue operation.
He called on people of the state to be security conscious and report any suspicious activity to the police for appropriate action. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Artificial scarcity of petroleum motor spirit, otherwise known as fuel, has continued to hit Sokoto metropolis and its environs, resulting in long queues of vehicles at filling stations. Sophia Abdullahi went round the metropolis and brought this situation report.
The current fuel scarcity in the state was brought about by the aborted warning strike of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, last week. Since then, the state has continued to witness artificial scarcity of the petroleum product, with most of the filling stations not selling the product. Investigations by NTA News revealed that as a result of the artificial scarcity, the product now sells far above the official pump price of 145 naira. In most parts of Sokoto metropolis, the product now sells between 160 naira to 180 naira per litre. The situation has also resulted to long queues of vehicles at filling stations, with many of the metropolis complaining.
And see the line massive is too much, and the engine massive is not even moving.
Officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources who spoke to NTA News off camera attributed the situation to some shoddy deals by independent marketers, saying there is adequate supply of the commodity in the states. He disclosed that at least over 20 trucks offload the product daily and wonder why there should be scarcity in the state. In Sokoto, Safia Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our package from Sokoto. Is back to Alajide in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
A smile there in our Sokoto Network Center. The Albino Foundation in Nigeria is mobilizing the international community to accompany them to the National Assembly to drum support for a bill on albinism. This necessitated a visit to the High Commission of Canada for an interface. Lydia Sampson has a report.
Albinism is a range of disorders varying in severity. They are all caused by a reduction or absence of the pigment melanin, often causing white skin, light hair, and vision problems. The condition affects an estimated 1 in 17,000 people globally. However, its prevalence varies by region. In sub-Saharan Africa, the rate of albinism is around 1 in 5,000. Albinism affects the sexes evenly, and all ethnic groups are vulnerable. Ironically, there are misconceptions about the condition. Though it neither affects the brain or character, those with it suffer discrimination and stigmatization.
Your colleague, the French ambassador, had graciously agreed. We're trying to mobilize the international community to come with us to the National Assembly. We're introducing a bill, and there's going to be a public hearing.
The Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria says Canada has great interest in human rights globally and will not relent in supporting the Albino Foundation eliminate all forms of discrimination.
You mentioned ways we can work together. Certainly you can count on Canada to speak up for you, as we do for all groups where we see instances of discrimination, both here in Nigeria but otherwise. And sadly, I can tell you that discrimination occurs in Canada as well, but we want to reduce that and ensure that it doesn't happen, or that it happens as little as possible.
The Commissioner assured the Foundation of mainstreaming it into grants that will be accessed through submissions of proposals as at when due. Some of the challenges faced by people living with albinism include skin cancer, eye problems, and social exclusion. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Our Jos Network Center is our next port of call with Femchit standing by. Hello, Femchit.
Jos. The water sector in the state is soon to witness massive transformation as the French government is investing about 50 million euros for the rehabilitation of the water system. This came to fore when Governor Simon Lalong played host to the French ambassador to Nigeria, Denis Gur, who paid him a courtesy call at the government house Rayfield. Paul Dama reports.
Governor Simon Lalong, who assured the French ambassador to Nigeria of government support towards the successful implementation of the project, said his administration is also concentrating on road construction and other infrastructural development across the state. He said government is diversifying into areas where the state has comparative advantage, such as agriculture and tourism, as the state is blessed in abundance with tourism spots and a favorable climate for agriculture.
Tourism, government is not responsible. They won't be involved in investing in tourism. What we do is to create the enabling environment, just like you have told us today.
The French ambassador, Denis Gur, says the relationship between France and Nigeria has developed positively over the years, and the French government is seeking improved bilateral relations in the economy and the security situation. He says part of priorities and actions for the development of the state include the implementation of the rehabilitation of the water system in Jos, economic presence, as French companies will be encouraged to establish in the northern part of the country.
We are discussing about 3 other states, which are Ondo, Enugu, and Plateau State. And the objective is to dedicate 50 million euros for the rehabilitation of the water management system in Jos.
Other areas of partnership are the educational sector, as the French government is collaborating with the University of Jos and some French universities in the area of chemistry, and the possibility of giving scholarship for students from the state to study in France. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Catholic Archbishop of Kaduna, Most Reverend Matthew Manason Dagaso, has called on the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, implement the ranching policy in order to curb the incessant farmers and herdsmen clashes in the country. The Catholic prelate made the call at the episcopal ordination of the second Catholic Bishop of Shandam Diocese, Most Reverend Philip Davodung. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
The cleric, who touched on burning issues ranging from insurgency, militancy, kidnapping, cattle rustling, unemployment, herders and farmers clashes, and corruption, called for the establishment and entrenchment of ranches as the only way to address herders-farmers clashes.
The zeal and tempo with which the insurgents were fought and technically defeated will be applied in solving the incessant conflicts that have caused and continue to cause untold hardship to many of our compatriots, especially in the central part of our country, and particularly what is happening right now.
He advised the new bishop to consider all living within the confines of Shandam Diocese as his flock, irrespective of their religious or tribal affiliation. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong assured the bishop of government support and prayers for continuous peace in the state and spiritual upliftment of the diocese.
I'm very happy that you are coming and look at the background, and I saw that you are coming from Rio, a former crisis area, to Shandam, and as a peacemaker, I said the Lord is good. We will have permanent peace in Plateau State.
The principal consecrator, Archbishop of Jos, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, was joined by Archbishop of Benin, Augustine Akubueze, and Bishop of Maiduguri, Oliver Dome. Bishop Philip Davo Dung replaced Bishop James Daman, who died about 2 years ago. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
That's the much we can take from our Just Network Center. Moving on now, 4 government ministers in the Gambia resigns as Thursday deadline for handover looms, and a note of caution for selfie freaks as 2 teenage girls in New Delhi, India get crushed while taking selfie on railway tracks. These and more on Global Tidbits with Chimdima Ndubisi.
As tensions rise in the Gambia with Thursday's deadline for President Yahya Jammeh to hand over power, 4 government ministers have resigned. Amid all this, reports say the State House is calm and armed soldiers are seen manning the gates. However, every security personnel is mandated to go through a metal detector before entering the building. In Côte d'Ivoire, there are reports of gunshots being heard at the army headquarters just as the government commenced payment of promised bonus to soldiers who mutinied recently. In another development, the International Organization for Migration is worried that the number of migrants that died at the Mediterranean Sea this year has doubled the figure for the same period last year. And families of victims of flight MH370 have described as irresponsible the decision to stop the search for missing Malaysian flight MH370, which disappeared in March 2014. The group, Voice 370, says the search should rather be expanded to other areas. Pieces of debris have been discovered, but only 7 have been identified as definitely or highly likely to be from the missing flight. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Our Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki has described the death of former Governor of Niger State Abdulkadir Abdullahi Kure as a great loss to the state and the country at large. The Senate President said this during a condolence visit to the family of the late former governor in Mina. Dauda Mohammed reports that former Vice President of Nigeria Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and former Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako also condoled with the family of the late former governor.
Senate President Bukola Saraki said, though a delegation had earlier been sent to condole with the family, but due to the importance of the late Kure to the Senate, it was felt necessary for him to come personally.
It's a great example to all politicians and leaders. This state has been blessed and it's a great loss to you all. I will condole with the people of the state.
Former Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, while describing the late Kure as a friend, colleague and compatriot, said the loss is personal to him, bearing in mind that they all belonged to Governors Club of 1999 before his appointment as Vice President of Nigeria.
He was one of the youngest, but then one of the most moderating influence on all of us.
Former Governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, said late Kure was a modest and accommodating person.
He was very good, very calm, collective, very reasonable.
Speaking on behalf of the late former governor's family, Umar Abdulkadir Kure pledged the family's commitment to sustaining their late father's service to humanity. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello called on everyone to continue to pray for the repose of the soul of the deceased. Former Governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Adamu, had earlier led the sympathizers in special prayers for the repose of the soul of late Kure. Senate President Bukola Saraki, with his delegation, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar also visited former Head of State, General Abdusalami Abubakar, at his hilltop residence in Mina. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Now sports, 2017 Port Harcourt 4-1 post.